Now, it's pretty much common knowledge at this point by many Marvel fans that 2025 is going to be full of expensive failures by Marvel Studios and Disney due to Kevin Feige and Bob Iger's lack of leadership and creativity at that, based on everything that has been happening with Captain America 4, Blade, Thunderbolts, and let's not forget about Fantastic Four. It's not going to be a good year for Disney, and it's most certainly not going to be a good year for Marvel Studios at that as well. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, we know that 2023, toward the tail end of that year, had also a lot of failures among Disney. We know that Wish was not a good one. Marvel Studios, The Marvels was also another box office failure under Disney. And that's exactly why Marvel Studios is listed as one of the divisions over at Disney that is very complex right now and is going through a lot of massive cutbacks by funds of budgets for these projects, whether it be movies or TV shows, doesn't matter. But when it comes down to actress Tatiana Maslany, alright, she is known for portraying the role as She-Hulk in Attorney at Law on Disney+. We know that she's been constantly attacking Marvel fans and endlessly blaming the quote-unquote toxic male demographic, and it didn't stop there. So let's get into all of this. Now, we know that Tatiana has taken shots multiple times, mind you, at Bob Iger, the Disney CEO. That is nothing new. But what's interesting about all of this has a lot to do with her overall take on what the fans should really be all about and exactly how she views the Marvel Cinematic Universe moving onwards. Now, with all divisions over at Disney heading into failure due to Bob Iger's cost-cutting measures and a lack of creativity, one major development involves She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany after the second season of She-Hulk was cancelled, after she delivered the following: I just think the problem and challenges that we deal with today in this industry is the toxic male demographic, there she goes, can be quite cruel to what both Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige have been trying to push with our films and series to empower women. It's quite disgusting, honestly, and they are most certainly part of the problem. I think it's ultimately why Season 2 just didn't work out for us, because those up at Disney and those like Bob only tend to listen to noise incorrectly, as if they are the majority of the fan base, holding an issue with a series or film. The point I always like to bring up is that there is a silent majority that the studio heads never take into any consideration. There are most certainly fans and followers that don't give feedback and don't give reviews online, so it's why I think studios need to take more risks in this business and deal with the outcome later. It's all about surpassing those challenges. I think the problem right now with Marvel is that, yes, Disney, and I agree with them about empowering women and whatnot. I am all for and support Ironheart, and am thrilled to see how that turns out. But the moment they hear noise, they never try to figure out the real problem that's going on. As an actress myself who gave it my all for She-Hulk, and I was so upset when they decided to throw their budget elsewhere, so I really can't talk much about what happened with that, but this is an issue that Bob needs to figure out on how to stop mistakenly taking the loud minority as the majority, and should really take it into consideration that there is, in fact, a silent majority that loves all these projects. Toxic masculinity is a real thing in this world, and it does impact our way of making fine art for both the big screen and for everyone who decides to watch these at home. The future of Marvel, I think, should keep focus on employing women for female characters that will reshape the MCU. I know many male fans that are all for that with no problem. I think everyone has had enough of Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, and all the classic and familiar characters. This is why fans should root for Echo, She-Hulk, Ironheart, Captain Marvel, and many others to be the new focus for the years to come. But yeah, She-Hulk Season 2 is just a mess right now. Disney really blew their budget on that one, and the character's future just looks bleak at this point, and most certainly, fans are to blame for that. I think these biased opinions need to stop. Now guys, let me just stop here for one moment, based on what she's kind of spewing out there. Now again, she's pointing the finger at the quote-unquote toxic male demographic. You know, it's almost like she's parroting Brie Larson and Rachel Zegler, among others, that really say the same exact nonsense over and over again, like a broken record. I mean, it's nothing new, let's be honest about this. I mean, when you look at everything related to Disney, these are the types of people that they hire, and then try to come across like it was a mistake. Disney usually tends to head into damage control and tries to keep some of their fandom intact, and it never works out. This is why I say Disney is really hypocritical and contradictory all the time, based on what Bob Iger says about, you know, the Marvel and Star Wars future, about how they want to quiet down the noise, and that never ended up to be the case at all, because look what's happening with 2025. It is going to be basically a woke disaster. There's no doubt about that, because we know that Bob Iger confirmed just 2 weeks ago that they are doubling down on their usage of DEI in Cap 4, Blade, Fantastic Four, and Thunderbolts. That's just for starters, by the way. That's just for the 2025 lineup, and that's only the beginning. And I can only imagine where Disney is going to be by the end of the decade if they keep this up. How much more can they keep losing at the box office, or how many ratings disasters can they still deal with, right? That's why a lot of people like to bring up and debate that Disney is not concerned about money, right? A lot of people like to bring up that debate, and rightfully so. So, interestingly enough, moving forward, she goes on to elaborate further, I think these biased opinions are wrecking the fandom. Fandom culture is also very toxic. It's never any good for anybody. As there are too many expectations from the writers, directors, and the entire crew working on these productions. Actresses like Brie, she's talking about Brie Larson, I think really understand what Marvel needs to become to inspire a whole new fan base. And for Marvel Studios to watch out to a more global audience. They are really limiting themselves, and I think it's another critique I have of Bob for really not giving it his all with expanding Marvel in such a way. I have no doubt that Ironheart will succeed beyond expectations and become the new fan favorite, even bigger than Tony Stark. So, I mean, these are ridiculous points that she always points out, right? The fact that she believes that the twerking scene in She-Hulk was one of the best moments in the MCU, that was another crazy statement. And this is another crazy thing to say, the fact that she believes that Ironheart is going to pretty much take the place of Iron Man. And again, you know, when you look at stuff like that, we have people like Tatiana Maslany, Brie Larson, and a lot of others out there like Rachel Zegler that have only caused a lot of trouble at Disney, have only caused a lot of, you know, disasters when it comes to film and or television, doesn't matter. It really does not look like a good future for Disney at all. They're already in a big mess right now, and that's why they are banking and placing all their bets on Deadpool 3 for July to at least make a decent profit at the box office. And I know some people have a lot of doubts about this film already based on the drama that's been going on and how Ryan and Hugh have been endlessly fighting to prevent Disney from throwing in DEI with the reshoots that are set to happen by the late portion of March into early April. But I would like to hear what you all have to say about this ongoing scenario below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.